There are pockets of this planet where reality itself feels like a distorted dream, as if the world we know simply stopped making sense. Our Earth is a vast, ancient canvas, hiding landscapes so alien they defy the very boundaries of geological logic. Far beyond the reach of neon grids and digital noise, the natural world has carved out secrets that have waited for thousands of years to be whispered. It is a realm where an eerie silence carries the heavy weight of fallen empires, and the air hums with a mystery that is both haunting and profoundly peaceful. You are about to witness a collision of natural masterpieces and forgotten faith. Forget everything you think you know about the visible world. Your descent into the unknown begins now. Gunas Lake, China. In the frozen silence of northern Xinjiang, Gunas Lake, China, sits like a restless, emerald eye, watching the sky with predatory intensity. Carved into the earth over 200,000 years ago by the slow, crushing power of quaternary glaciers, this water plunges to a staggering depth of more than 620 feet. The lake is a master of disguise, shifting its skin from a pale, milky turquoise to a dark, bruised green as the sun moves across the Siberian horizon. As you stand on its shore, the air is so sharp it feels like cold glass in your lungs. While the water remains unnervingly still, it serves as a haunting reminder that the unknown still maintains a headquarters on our modern maps. Sonar frequently detects massive, shifting shadows in the deep, yet it never finds the bodies that cast them, as the beauty is merely the bait. Hukou Waterfall, China. At the jagged collision point of Shaanxi and Shaanxi, the Yellow River is forced through a violent rock throat only 50 meters wide. This is Hukou Waterfall, China, the only place on this planet where you can witness a cascade made of pure liquid gold. Every second, 31,000 cubic feet of heavy, silt-filled mud thunders into the abyss, creating a roar that vibrates within your very bone marrow. You are not simply looking at falling water. You are witnessing the raw, concentrated anger of a civilization's ancient mother. It proves that power is not always clean. Sometimes, greatness is found in something both beautiful and filthy. The resulting mist often fractures light into strange, inverted rainbows that should not exist. And if you stand too long in the rhythmic thrum, you might start hearing phantom voices screaming within the golden spray, a sound that lingers. Mount Dangxia, China. Mount Dangxia, China, in northern Guangdong, looks less like a mountain and more like a bleeding canvas stretched across the horizon. Formed over 140 million years of red sandstone oxidation, this landscape spans nearly 290 square kilometers of burning rock. During the height of sunset, the cliffs appear to self-combust in a violent display of crimson and gold, making you feel like a microscopic intruder on a giant's palette. It is a profound meditation on how the Earth wears its geological scars as high art, proving that though, Gian, and trauma can create something ethereal, deep within the mountain, there are jagged gorges that have never been touched by a single ray of sunlight since the dawn of man, yet the rocks remain warm to the touch long after the sun has set, as if the earth is still pulsing. The Stone Forest, China. Hidden in Yunnan is a nightmare labyrinth of petrified blades made from cold limestone, known as the Stone Forest, China. This alien terrain was forged through 270 million years of relentless karst erosion and tectonic pressure. Across 400 square kilometers, jagged gray needles rise from the ground as a frozen army caught in a silent march toward the sky. Within minutes of stepping into its shadows, your internal compass fails, and the monoliths begin to crowd your vision with a heavy, ancient intensity. It serves as proof that nature does not need to build walls when it can simply grow them out of the earth itself. When the wind rushes through the narrow gaps, the stones produce a sound that resembles a hollow, rhythmic whisper. And if you stray from the marked path, the gray maze becomes your permanent home. Huangguoshu Waterfall, China. Huangguoshu Waterfall, China, is not merely a spectacle to watch from a distance. It is an invitation to step directly into the rhythmic heart of the earth. Formed as the Baishui River plunges into a massive karst void, this giant stands 255 feet high and stretches over 330 feet wide. The true mystery lies within the Water Curtain Cave, a natural stone gallery that allows you to walk entirely behind the thundering torrent. As you move through this humid corridor, the heavy mist becomes a constant baptism, and the air feels like the rhythmic breath of a living lung. It offers a rare, immersive glimpse into the hidden backstage of nature's most violent beauty. Curiously, the air inside this stone tunnel remains 10 degrees colder than the cliff face outside. And up close, the falling water takes on the mechanical grinding sound of a dying engine. Qinghai Lake, China. Perched upon the vast Tibetan plateau, Qinghai Lake, China, exists as a high-altitude sea that seems to have fallen directly from the sky. This tectonic depression, spanning 1,700 square miles at an elevation of 10,500 feet, is a sanctuary made of salt and absolute silence. The cobalt blue of the water is so piercingly intense, it physically aches to look at, while the thin, oxygen-starved air turns every breath into a conscious and heavy choice. This is a divine void where the human ego goes to simply evaporate against the infinite horizon. It is a place of profound peace, yet it harbors sudden outbursts of life in the most unexpected places. At its center, the island of birds stands as a screaming, chaotic colony of life in a desert of salt. And when winter freezes the surface, the thick ice groans like a trapped, living beast. Hulenburg Grassland, China. Hulenburg Grassland, China, is a massive emerald ocean where the very concept of a horizon feels more like a myth than a physical boundary. Spanning 38,000 square miles of undisturbed steppe, this is pure, unadulterated infinity, tucked away in the far northeast, standing in the center of this green expanse. The crushing weight of modern life suddenly feels trivial and incredibly small. Here, the passage of time is measured not by ticking clocks, but by the shifting direction of the tireless, rolling wind. It is a geography that teaches you that true freedom is a tangible place you can actually walk upon. As night falls, the atmosphere becomes so thin and clear that the stars feel close enough to touch with your fingertips, while locals believe the swaying grass still hums with the rhythmic memory of the thundering hooves of the Great Khan. Geketuohai, China, tucked within the remote Fuyun County, Geketuohai, China, presents a landscape that looks less like nature and more like a precision-engineered alien city. The granite monoliths of the Irtysh Grand Canyon rise 1,000 feet into the air, featuring vertical joints so smooth and sharp they appear to have been machined by a divine architect. It is a rock climber's nightmare, but a photographer's dream, standing as a testament to the fact that time is the most patient and meticulous sculptor in existence. Every silver peak reflects the sun with a metallic sheen, contrasting against the vibrant jade river that snakes through the canyon floor. Beneath this majestic beauty lies a literal goldmine of rare minerals and hidden geological wealth. While the rushing water remains a piercing green, the surrounding stones shimmer with a haunting silver glow that makes the gorge feel like a treasury. Tianshan Grand Canyon, China. On the rugged outskirts of Urumqi, the Tianshan Grand Canyon, China, serves as a fiery, red-walled corridor leading toward the heavens. Forged through millions of years of wind and sand abrasion, the canyon features narrow passages flanked by vertical walls, soaring 900 feet high. As you descend into its 18-mile length, the towering cliffs seem to swallow the light, leaning in as if to whisper secrets of the deep earth. The sheer scale forces a profound sense of humility, reminding us that true wisdom is often found in the hidden cracks of the world. However, this piece is deceptive, as sudden flash floods can fill the entire canyon in a matter of seconds without any warning. The most magical moment occurs when the blood-red sandstone suddenly transforms into shimmering gold at exactly 4 in the afternoon, as if the mountain is changing its soul. Yellow River Grand Canyon, China. In the desolate reach of Piangguan, Yellow River Grand Canyon, China, stands as a dramatic theater of war between nature and man. Here, the Great Wall descends from the jagged ridges to finally meet the Great River in a silent, golden embrace. The river executes a perfect, massive U-turn, carving through the lowest plateau and exposing hundreds of feet of vertical silt cliffs. As you look down, you see a map of a forgotten struggle where man's stone defenses collide with the unstoppable path of water. It is a haunting lesson that all our history is eventually written in mud and stone, destined to be eroded by time. Strangely, the river flow is almost entirely silent in this section, and the abandoned mud forts on the cliffs look like they are slowly melting back into the earth. Xishuangbanna Botanical Garden, China. Deep within the tropical heart of Mengla, Xishuangbanna Botanical Garden, China, serves as a vibrant Jurassic period time capsule. Established in 1959 to protect 13,000 tropical species. These 11 acres represent a primordial density rarely seen on the modern map. When you enter, the humidity clings to you like a second skin, and you can almost hear the forest breathing as every plant fights for a single sliver of light. It is a chaotic, beautiful reminder that life always finds a way to flourish, even when we forget the rhythm of the wild. The botanical mysteries here are profound. Some ancient trees actually walk by growing new roots to relocate their trunks. And certain rare flowers are rumored to bloom only when the moon is perfectly full. Mount Imai, China, rising majestically in Sichuan. Mount Imai, China, is a sanctuary of height and light. Forged 70 million years ago through intense volcanic lifting, this sacred peak reaches 10,167 feet into the atmosphere. The journey involves emerging from a thick, gray sea of clouds into the blinding brilliance of the Golden Summit, home to over 30 ancient temples. This transition feels like a spiritual rebirth where the air becomes thin, ice-cold, and undeniably holy. It teaches the quiet lesson that truth is always waiting just higher than the mist of daily lives. You must watch your step, as the wild monkeys here act as the self-appointed and aggressive guards of the temples, and the famous Buddha's light phenomenon is actually a terrifyingly beautiful halo of your own shadow. Mount Tai, China, located in Shandong. Mount Tai, China, is a vertical monument to human will and imperial ego. Composed of ancient metamorphic rock, nearly 2 billion years old. It has served as the literal stairway to heaven for 72 emperors across history. To reach the summit, you must conquer 6,660 granite steps, a journey that becomes a grueling negotiation with your own exhaustion. Reaching the peak at sunrise, the world appears brand new, as if you are the first person to ever see the light. It is a profound realization that perseverance is the only currency that allows you to meet the sun. Many pilgrims climb all night through the freezing darkness to witness the dawn, and the summit rocks are covered in 2,000 years of imperial graffiti. Paektu Mountain, China, straddling the mysterious border of Jilin. Paektu Mountain, China, also known as Changbai, hides a volcanic eye filled with celestial water. This massive caldera was created by a cataclysmic eruption in the year 946. Now sitting 9,000 feet high, the Sapphire Lake at its center is 1,200 feet deep, appearing like the soul of the planet itself. The wind at the rim is violent and piercing, but looking down into the still water reveals that extreme volcanic violence can eventually result in ultimate peace. It is a breathtaking paradox of geology and quietude. However, the mystery is edged with tension, as exactly half of the lake belongs to a hermit kingdom, and thick clouds hide the summit from view for over 250 days every year. Mount Putuo, China, floating in the Zhoushan archipelago. Mount Putuo, China, is a unique sanctuary where the mountains meet the salt spray. This granite island serves as a Buddhist sanctuary where the scent of the Pacific Ocean mixes with thick clouds of incense from over 30 major temples. Standing on the cliffs, the rhythm of the crashing surf begins to sound like a holy mantra, creating an atmosphere of deep, maritime peace. It suggests that compassion should be as vast and rhythmic as the sea itself. It is a place of forced contemplation where all motor vehicles are banned, requiring you to walk alone with your thoughts. The massive statue of the goddess Guan Yin stands tall on the shore, watching every ship that passes through mist-covered and holy waters. Mount Mian, China, high in the rugged province of Shanxi. Mount Mian, China, defies the very logic of gravity with ancient temples built directly into the hollows of vertical cliffs. This sacred retreat, dating back over 2,000 years, spans a massive 70-mile scenic area where vertical drops of 2,000 feet are a common sight. Standing on a sky bridge here is a high-wire act of pure faith, with nothing but the whistling wind and space beneath your boots. It forces a profound and dizzying question: why live on the ground when you can exist in the air? The sense of peace is absolute. Yet it is shadowed by a haunting secret hidden in plain sight. The mummies of ancient monks are encased within the very statues you bow to, their bodies preserved for centuries. Even in the dry season, water drips from the overhanging rocks like constant, ghostly rain. Mount Jihua, China. Mount Jihua, China, is a granitic masterpiece formed 100 million years ago, crowned by 99 sharp peaks that pierce the Anhui skyline. Rising 4,400 feet, this mountain serves as a massive home to more than 90 temples scattered among the treacherous crags. In the early morning, the fog is so dense it feels like walking through layers of wet silk, and the deep chime of temple bells echoes through the valleys like a steady, rhythmic heartbeat. It is a place where nature provides the grand architecture and humans simply provide the bells. The mountain holds a miraculous mystery that defies the laws of biological decay. The bodies of certain devout monks do not rot after death, but are said to turn to gold, remaining sitting in meditation for generations. Locals claim that on particularly misty days, the shifting clouds make the mountains move. Mount Taibai, China. Standing as the icy monarch of the Qinling Range, Mount Taibai, China, is a high-altitude granite giant rising 12,360 feet from the sun-drenched plains. Climbing this peak is a grueling journey through 4 distinct seasons in a single day, beginning in lush heat and ending in a monochromatic desert of stone and ice. The summit remains frozen, even in the height of summer. A stark reminder that some heights are simply meant to remain cold and distant from the world below. Reaching the top reveals the Heaven's Pool, a glacial lake that acts as a perfect, silver mirror for the stars above. It is a place of brutal beauty where the silence is heavy, and the margin for human error is razor thin. Beware of the shifting mists, as the pool is said to reflect a world that is not there. One wrong turn, and the mountain keeps you. Mount Lao, China, where the jagged edge of Taoism meets the rhythmic pulse of the Yellow Sea, you will find Mount Lao, China. This igneous granite massif rises 3,700 feet directly from the coastline, making it the highest coastal peak in the entire country. Standing on a 3,000-foot cliff, you can feel the competing gravity of the moon, pulling the tides and the mountain holding the earth together. It suggests that true spirituality is not just lost in the clouds, it is rooted in the dark, churning water below. The peace found here is legendary, fueled by mineral-rich springs that have flowed for millennia. Ironically, this holy spring water is now the secret ingredient in some of the world's most famous beers. Taoist legends persist that ancient immortals still dwell within the deepest sea caves, watching the modern world from the safety of the dark shadows. Fenghuang, ancient city, China. In the misty corner of Jiangxi, Fenghuang ancient city, China, stands as a defiant phoenix, frozen in wood and stone. Established in 1704, this riverside marvel is defined by over 200 stilt houses leaning precariously over the Tuojiang River. Walking across the jumping stones as red lanterns bleed crimson light into the water feels like stepping into a cinematic dream sequence. While the rest of the world raced towards steel and glass, Fenghuang chose to stay behind, proving that progress is merely a choice we make. It is a sanctuary of ancient peace where time does not tick, it flows. You will notice that the wooden houses lean at impossible angles, but they never fall into the current. The steady, rhythmic flow of the river is the only clock the city ever needs. Leishan Giant Buddha, China, carved into the literal skin of a mountain in Sichuan. The Leshan Giant Buddha, China, is a 23-story god watching over the collision of three rivers. Workers began chiseling this titan in the year 713 to calm the treacherous currents that swallowed ships. Standing 233 feet tall, with ears spanning 23 feet, he is a monument to the idea that man can carve absolute peace out of pure chaos. When you stand at his massive toes and look toward the sky, your own modern problems suddenly feel microscopic and trivial. He is a silent guardian of the waters, anchored in stone for over a millennium. Hidden beneath his curls is a complex, 1,000-year-old drainage system that keeps him dry. When the sun hits his eyes just right, he dangles with light and seems to come alive. Potala, China, perched atop the Red Mountain in the thin air of Lhasa. The Potala Palace, China, serves as the winter fortress of a living god. Completed in 1645, this 13-story labyrinth contains exactly 1,000 rooms and over 200,000 statues. The air here is oxygen-starved and heavy, with a scent of burning yak butter lamps, creating a sensory overload of deep crimson and shimmering gold. It is a staggering testament to the fact that faith can build a mountain on top of a mountain. Every step through its hallowed halls feels like a climb toward another dimension where the spiritual and physical worlds collide. The fortress walls are a massive 16 feet thick to withstand the brutal Himalayan elements. The gold leaf covering the sacred roofs is so thick that it weighs several tons in total. Yunnan Grottos, China. In the cliffs of Datong, the Yunnan Grottos, China, preserve over 51,000 faces, watching you from the cold sandstone. These 5th century caves are a stone library of a lost era, where statues range from the size of 2 centimeters to a towering 17 meters. Every square inch of the wall is screaming with intricate detail. Depicting a world of celestial dancers and silent deities, it is a profound reminder that art is the only true way for a civilization to survive its own inevitable death. Walking through these 53 major caves feels like navigating a forgotten subconscious carved into the mountainside. You might be surprised to learn that many of these gray statues were originally painted in a vibrant electric blue. The largest Buddha possesses eyes, designed with such mathematical precision that they seem to follow you across the room. The Great Wall, China, stretching across 13,000 miles of jagged mountain ridges. The Great Wall of China is the longest graveyard and defense system on our planet. Built over nearly 2,000 years, from the 3rd century before the Common Era to the 17th century, it represents the ultimate collision of stone and human ego. Standing in a high watchtower while the wind whistles through the arrow slits, you feel the crushing loneliness of the soldiers who stood guard here 500 years ago. It is a monument to the human desire for safety, yet it ultimately defines our deepest fears. The wall is a scar across the earth that refuses to heal. Certain sections were so well built because the ancient engineers used a secret mortar made of sticky rice. While often debated, it is only visible from space if you use a high-powered camera lens. The Forbidden City, China. Hidden behind massive crimson walls in the heart of Beijing, the Forbidden City, China, was the golden cage for 24 emperors. Completed in 1420, this sprawling palace contains 9,999 rooms, because only heaven is allowed to have 10,000. Walking along the central axis makes you feel like a microscopic intruder in a silent world of imperial ghosts. It is a staggering architectural masterpiece that suggests perfection itself is the ultimate prison. Every tile and gilded roof was designed to radiate absolute power and cosmic order. You will find that no trees were ever allowed to grow in the main courtyards to deny any assassin a place to hide. To prevent anyone from tunneling into the emperor's sanctuary, the stone floors were constructed with 15 layers of crisscross brick. Pingyao, Ancient City. Pingyao, China, in the dusty heart of Shanxi. Pingyao, Ancient City, China, stands as the perfectly preserved Wall Street of the 19th century. This 14th century walled city was the birthplace of Chinese banking, once controlling the flow of silver across the entire empire. Walking its narrow alleys at night under the glow of red lanterns feels like stepping into a gritty noir film from 1900. It is a place where you realize that while massive wealth eventually passes, the walls we build to protect it often remain. The city is enclosed by 6 kilometers of jagged stone and brick that have survived countless wars. Beneath the traditional shops, the original underground bank vaults still hide in the darkness. The entire city was designed in the shape of a tortoise, a spiritual symbol intended to grant the inhabitants eternal life. Longmen Grottoes, China. In the limestone cliffs of Luoyang, Longmen Grottoes, China, stand as a haunting stone chronicle of the human soul, carved across the Northern Wei and Tang dynasties. This jagged wall features 2,300 caves and more than 110,000 Buddha statues. As you stand before the massive Vairochana Buddha, his perfect, ancient smile seems to mock the very concept of time, watching empires rise and fall with cold, stone eyes. It is a place that teaches us that stone is far more patient than human skin. Every hollow in the cliff is a whisper from a lost era, a library of faith chiseled into the earth. However, the beauty is scarred by history. Many statues lost their heads to looters centuries ago, and the river flowing below is known as the Gate of the Dragon, a passage into the unknown. Gulangyu Island, China. Floating just off the coast of Fujian, Gulangyu Island, China, is a rare sanctuary where the frantic noise of the modern world simply stops, spanning only 2 square kilometers. This 19th century international settlement is famous as the island of no engines, where all motor vehicles are strictly banned. Walking past elegant European and Chinese villas, you hear nothing but the crashing surf and the faint sound of piano music drifting from open windows. It is a Mediterranean dream tucked into the South China Sea, proving that true culture is what happens when the mechanical noise of progress finally dies away. The silence here is a luxury, a breathing space for the spirit. Curiously, the island houses the world's largest piano museum, and nearly every brick used to build its sprawling mansions was imported from Europe by ship. Yueyang Tower, China, perched on the eastern shore of Lake Dongting. Yueyang Tower, China, is a miraculous feat of ancient engineering. Originally a 3rd century military outpost, the current 3-story structure rises 19 meters high without the use of a single iron nail. Standing on the upper balcony, looking out over the vast Miste Lake, you can feel the crushing weight of every poem and lament ever written within these wooden walls. It is a structure that suggests true strength lies in the harmony of the joints rather than the force of the fasteners. The tower acts as a bridge between the military grit of the past and the poetic peace of the present. Its unique roof is shaped specifically to resemble a general's helmet, and despite being destroyed and rebuilt 30 times, the spirit of the tower remains unbreakable. Mausoleum of Genghis Khan, China. Deep within the windswept grasslands of Ordos, the Mausoleum of Genghis Khan, China, stands as a cenotaph for the man who once owned the entire known world. This spiritual memorial consists of 3 massive yurt-style palaces rising from the silent Inner Mongolian steppe. As the scent of burning juniper fills the air, you can feel the lingering shadow of the Great Khan in the oppressive silence of the desert. It is a profound meditation on the fact that even the world's most relentless conqueror could not take a single blade of grass with him into the afterlife. The site is a void where a body should be, yet his presence is undeniable. An eternal lamp inside has burned continuously for 800 years, while the location of his actual grave remains the greatest unsolved secret on the planet. Summer Palace, China. Tucked away in the Haidian district, the Summer Palace, China, serves as a sprawling masterpiece known as the Garden of Nurtured Harmony. Built in 1750 as a royal retreat for the Qing emperors, this artificial paradise covers 3 square kilometers, where 75% of the landscape is shimmering water. Boating on Kunming Lake. You realize this entire environment was meticulously designed to mimic the soul's deepest desire for absolute rest. It is a staggering reminder that even the most powerful rulers on earth eventually need a vacation from their own divinity. The landscape is a lie crafted into a beautiful truth. The massive lake was dug entirely by hand, to resemble the shape of a sacred peach. And the famous long corridor features more than 14,000 individual paintings along its 700 meters in length. Tiananmen Square, China. In the absolute heart of the capital, Tiananmen Square, China, exists as the world's largest power void, expanded in 1958 to become the center of modern history. These 109 acres of open granite create an atmosphere of extreme exposure, standing in the center of this massive emptiness. You feel the weight of authority and the stage where history is performed in real time. It is a place that uses physical space as the ultimate symbol of control and national identity. The sheer scale makes every individual feel microscopic against the backdrop of the state. The square has the capacity to hold more than 1 million people at a single time, and the daily flag-raising ceremony is timed to occur at the exact second the sun breaks over the horizon. Lama Temple, China, hidden within the bustling Dongcheng district. The Lama Temple, China, is a sanctuary of deep crimson and golden light. Originally a royal palace built in 1694, it was later converted into the most important Tibetan Buddhist temple outside of the Himalayas. Inside, the air is thick with clouds of incense and the haunting, low-frequency throat singing of monks that seems to vibrate the floorboards. You find yourself standing before the sandalwood giant, an 18-meter Buddha carved entirely from a single, massive tree. It is a place where sacredness becomes a fragrance that never truly leaves your skin. The towering statue holds a Guinness World Record for its sheer scale, from a single trunk, and miraculously, the entire temple survived the chaos of the Cultural Revolution, completely untouched by the outside world. Drum and Bell Towers, China. In the skyline north of the Forbidden City, the Drum and Bell Towers, China, stand as the mechanical heart of an ancient empire. Dating back to the Yuan dynasty, these structures tower 47 meters over the surrounding gray alleyways. Experiencing the thunder of 24 massive drums beating in unison is not merely a sound, it is a physical shock that rattles your chest and halts your breath. In this space, time was once an epic event announced to the masses, rather than a digital number on a flickering screen. It reflects a world where the life of the city was synchronized by a rhythmic, wooden pulse, reminding us that time is both a shared burden and a shared gift. The legendary Night Watch would drum every 2 hours to signal the passing of the dark, and the massive copper bell is so powerful that its chime can be heard 10 miles away. Beihai Park, China, resting quietly adjacent to the Imperial Palace. Beihai Park, China, is a 10th century garden designed to be a physical map of paradise. Across 69 hectares of shimmering water and artificial spirit mountains, the landscape offers a visual sanctuary from the frantic machinery of the city. Seeing the pristine white pagoda reflected in the lotus-filled lake is the literal definition of serenity. A moment where the modern world simply fades away into the mist. It serves as a reminder that even in the absolute center of a vast empire, there must be a garden for the soul to breathe. The entire park was built to represent Mount Sumeru, the center of the Buddhist universe. You will find that the famous Nine-Dragon Wall is composed of exactly 424 glazed tiles, and the island itself is said to be anchored to the lake bed by ancient spirits. Tanzhe Temple, China, hidden in the Mentugu district. Tanzhe Temple, China, is an ancient sanctuary that actually predates the very city of Beijing, founded in the year 307 during the Jin dynasty. The temple is a sprawling labyrinth of stone halls and trees that have witnessed 17 centuries of human history. Touching the bark of the ginkgo king feels like placing your hand on the skin of a living dinosaur. A connection to a timeline that makes a human life seem like a mere blink. It suggests that while human buildings eventually rot and crumble, the trees remain as silent witnesses to our greatest ambitions. Emperors would travel for miles to this secluded valley just to ask the trees for political advice. And the temple possesses a strange stone basin that was once used by monks to predict the coming of the rains. Fragrant Hills, China, located in the Haidian district. Fragrant Hills, China, was once the 12th century hunting grounds for the elite of the Qing dynasty, spanning 4.2 square kilometers of jagged peaks and hidden pavilions. The park becomes a kaleidoscope of fire and gold. Every autumn, climbing the peak, known as the Devil's Smile in October, reveals a world transformed into a vibrant display of red and yellow leaves that captures the heart. It is a profound meditation on the idea that death and decay can be the most beautiful seasons of all. Here, the end of a cycle is celebrated with a riot of color that defies the gray of the coming winter. The summit resembles a giant incense burner when the morning mist rises, and it is served by a cable car that stands as the highest point of its kind in the capital. Old Summer Palace, China. On the northwestern edge of Beijing, the Old Summer Palace, China, exists as a haunting graveyard of marble and imperial dreams. Built in 1707 and destroyed by war in 1860, these 3.5 square kilometers of ruins were once called the Versailles of the East. Walking among the shattered columns and dry canals, you feel the heavy ghost of a lost world and the jagged pain of art that can never be recovered. It is a staggering lesson that what man builds with pride, man can destroy with equal ferocity. The landscape remains a beautiful, tragic scar on the face of history. It took 3 full days for the fire to stop burning when the palace fell. And today, the elaborate stone maze is the only structure that has been fully rebuilt from the ashes. Ming Tombs, China, situated in a quiet valley in Changping. The Ming Tombs, China, form a vast necropolis where 13 emperors sleep in eternal silence. Constructed between 1409 and 1644. This royal cemetery spans 80 square kilometers of sacred earth and underground palaces. Walking the sacred way between colossal stone guardians makes you feel like a mere mortal entering the realm of the dead. It is a place that teaches us that silence is the final and most profound form of respect we can offer to the past. The architecture is a physical manifestation of a dynasty's soul, hidden away from the sun. Only one of these 13 massive tombs has ever been fully excavated by modern archaeologists. And the Empress's crown found within is adorned with 5,000 individual pearls. Prince Gong's Mansion, China, in the heart of the Shichahai district. Prince Gong's Mansion, China, stands as the ultimate monument to the weight of golden corruption. Once the home of He Shen, famously known as the most corrupt official in human history. The estate spans 60,000 square meters and contains more than 40 courtyards. Seeing the sacred blessing character carved by the emperor himself makes the mansion feel like a sanctuary built of pure luck and stolen fortune. It is a beautiful, heavy shadow of a house that proves wealth can be a magnificent prison. Every detail reflects a level of luxury that rivaled the Forbidden City itself. The sprawling mansion is actually larger than many royal residences of the time, and the private garden contains a hidden pond designed in the perfect shape of a bat to attract good fortune. Manchukuo Museum, China, located in the industrial chill of Jilin. The Manchukuo Museum, China, stands as the golden prison of the puppet emperor. Once the official residence of Puyi, the final emperor of the Qing dynasty under Japanese occupation, the palace is a bizarre architectural clash of Japanese rigidity and Western luxury. Walking into the cramped, ornate throne room, you feel the suffocating tragedy of a man who was titled a king but lived as a servant to foreign masters. It is a haunting reminder that a crown is a heavy and hollow thing to wear when it belongs to someone else. The silence in the halls feels like a held breath from the year 1932. Surprisingly, his private bathroom was the most modern in all of China at the time, and his original bulletproof car remains parked in the garage as if waiting for a final escape. Locust Tree of Hongtong, China. In the dust-swept plains of Linfen, the locust tree of Hongtong, China, grows as a living monument to the human heart. This ancient trunk served as the primary migration point during the Ming Dynasty, where families were forcibly separated and sent to distant corners of the empire. Today, thousands of crimson ribbons flutter from its 1,000-year-old branches, representing the prayers of millions of descendants who view this spot as their ultimate home base. Seeing the tree is an emotional homecoming, proving that roots are always stronger than the vast distances of time. It is a sanctuary of belonging in a world of constant movement and change. People travel all the way from America just to touch the rough bark of their ancestors. And they often say that where the locust tree stands, their true home will always be found. Huangdi Mausoleum, China. Within the ancient forests of Huangling, the Huangdi Mausoleum, China, marks the resting place of the Yellow Emperor, the legendary founder of an entire civilization. The site is shrouded by a sprawling cypress forest containing 80,000 trees, creating a thick atmosphere of 5,000 years of unbroken reverence. Walking through the gate, you realize you aren't standing at a grave, but at the starting line of a nation's story. It is a place of deep, primordial peace where the rustle of the wind sounds like a dialogue between the past and the present. Every journey of a billion souls had a first step, and this was it. The famous hand-planted cypress tree is over 50 centuries old and still growing strong. And throughout history, emperors from every single dynasty traveled here to bow in the shadow of their common father. Nixi Wetland, China. On the emerald outskirts of Hangzhou, Yixi Wetland, China, exists as a sprawling water maze of 1,000 islands. This delicate ecosystem has thrived for 4,000 years, creating a labyrinth of hidden canals and swaying reeds. Boating through the morning fog while a hidden flute melody drifts across the water feels like stepping directly into an ancient ink painting brought to life. It is a sanctuary that proves nature is the best architect of privacy and quietude. The winding waterways swallow the noise of the modern world, leaving only the sound of rhythmic oars and birdsong. It is a miracle of preservation, situated just 5 kilometers from a bustling city of 10 million people. And the traditional dragon boat races held in these narrow channels have been a local ritual for over 500 years without interruption. Lauhutan Ocean Park, China. Along the rugged granite coastline of Dalian, Lauhutan Ocean Park, China, stands where the mountains meet the dark Pacific abyss. This modern marine sanctuary is built upon a coastline of 1,100,000 square meters, where massive tiger sculptures seem to roar at the crashing waves. Walking along the shore, you witness a surreal clash between man-made art and the wild, unpredictable energy of the deep ocean. It serves as a reminder that while we may dominate the land, the sea remains an untamed and ancient frontier. The saltwater spray and the cold wind create an atmosphere of raw, coastal power that is both exhilarating and peaceful. The park is home to the world's largest coral pavilion, a neon forest beneath the glass. And the iconic tiger statues guarding the beach are carved from 500 tons of solid granite. Sun Island, China. In the shivering heart of Harbin, Sun Island, China, exists as a dual-natured dreamscape that shifts between a lush summer paradise and a brutal winter ice hell. This vast floodplain island in the Songhua River covers 38 square kilometers of what can only be described as snow art. Standing in the minus 30-degree air, you find yourself staring at massive, glowing castles carved entirely from ice. It is a frozen dream that possesses a tragic beauty, knowing that every intricate tower and wall will inevitably melt away into nothingness every April. This cycle serves as a haunting reminder that the most precious things in life are often those that are temporary. It is a fragile masterpiece of the extreme north. Every single block of ice is painstakingly cut from the river by hand using traditional saws. And the hidden Russian town on the island feels like stepping into a 1920s postcard. Bakuan Gorge, China, hidden within the staggering Taihang Mountains. Bakuan Gorge, China, is known as the Grand Canyon of the East. This geological scar was forged over 2.5 billion years of tectonic fracturing, creating 15 miles of vertical stone corridors known as the Gates of Hell. The water snaking through the bottom is an electric blue, so intense it looks synthetic against the ancient gray rock. Taking the elevator up the vertical cliff face is a mile of pure adrenaline that forces you to face the raw scale of the planet. It is a place that teaches us that the Earth is composed of infinite hidden layers, and we usually only ever see the thin, fragile crust. The gorge is a masterclass in deep time and deep water. It houses the world's highest transparent lift for those brave enough to look down, and its 8 springs never go dry, even during droughts. Yellow River Grand Canyon, China, perched on the desolate Inner Mongolia border. The Yellow River Grand Canyon, China, reveals the legendary Omega Curve of the Great River. This final, deep cut into the lowest plateau creates a perfect 180-degree bend of liquid gold. Standing on the precipice, you watch a 5,000-mile river desperately try to turn around in a massive, sweeping arc. It feels like standing at the visual end of the world, where the sheer momentum of nature is caught in a moment of hesitation. This loop is a profound symbol of the cycle of life, suggesting that all paths eventually lead back to exactly where they began. It is a meditative space where the magnitude of the earth is all that remains. The silence here is somehow louder than the roar of any city you have left behind. And as the sun sets, the water transforms into a ribbon of shimmering, molten metal. We have traveled through 48 worlds within one, crossing borders of stone, water, and deep time. What we have found is that the most incredible places on this planet are not just destinations, but reflections of our own capacity to wonder. From the silent depths of Canis to the golden curves of the Yellow River, the unseen has finally been revealed. But remember, a map only tells you where a place is. It never tells you what it feels like to stand there. As the screen fades to black, let these stories sit with you. The world is far bigger, older, and more mysterious than we often dare to imagine. Thank you for exploring the edge of reality with us. Stay curious, stay hungry for the unknown, and we will see you on the next journey into the unseen.